Welcome to today's show. My name is Zach Thomas, and today we're touching on something special. At Kinley, we're teaming up with the American Heart Association to talk about a topic that's critically important and often overlooked, and it's heart health in the construction industry. Joining me today, I've got two fantastic guests. Jennifer Swafford, she's the Development Director for the American Heart Association in Fort Worth, Texas. And we have Mike Dunaway, Kinley's HSE Director, and someone who lives and breathes safety every day. So together, we're going to talk about CPR awareness, high-risk health factors in our industry, and how we're promoting both physical safety and heart health through the upcoming Tarrant County Heart Walk. So let's kick this thing off. Mike, from your perspective, how often is heart health discussed in our construction safety conversations, and why does it need more attention?
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. In my honest opinion, it really isn't discussed other than your annual benefit sign up where they say, hey, if you go do a physical, you get extra money in your HSA or something like that, or some kind of discounts. We really don't talk much about healthy living, specifically into heart health. And I think it's something that really needs a lot more attention. We actually have a project manager here at Kinley, Chaz Nagel, who has a master's degree in clinical exercise physiology. He has worked with really high level Division I football, baseball, and basketball teams, and done a lot of research and working on the health and wellness of these athletes. And something that talking with him, he has seen through his studies when he was doing that stuff is that his industry or whatever does say, construction workers, manufacturing workers, they are industrial athletes. If you think about how much emphasis our society puts on the health and well-being of professional athletes, D1 athletes and stuff like that, it's all about training, diet, recovery. It's very prescribed. It's very detailed. And it's just kind of assumed that that's what has to happen. Now think about a construction worker. They're working extremely difficult, laborious jobs in extreme temperatures, environments, stuff like that. They're doing it for 10 to 12 hours a day, not 3 or 4 hours for a game or practice or everything like that. How much emphasis are we putting on their health? I'll tell you right now, it's not very much. This is something that we really need to start taking serious because they are truly industrial athletes.
You touched on long hours, stress, and poor diet. Does that put workers at a higher risk for heart disease?
Yeah, absolutely. In general, construction workers really don't have the best health habits. It's not necessarily because they don't want to. They may not know how, but also the way they live tends to be out of necessity. You get up before daylight. You're grabbing a cup of coffee as you walk out the door. You're driving to the job site. It might be 10 minutes away. It could be an hour and a half away. So what are you doing? You're stopping at the local convenience store on the way in, and you're grabbing some kind of energy drink, maybe a Gatorade, and a couple slices of breakfast pizza. And that's what you're eating on the way to the job site. Then you're knocking out 12-hour shift and you're coming home. Just stop by the same exact gas station on the way home. You do the same thing, maybe a 6-pack of beer, I don't know, and you're grabbing another slice of pepperoni pizza. And because you either don't have the time, you don't have the energy when you do get back to the house to make a proper meal and do all that kind of stuff. And then it's just rinse and repeat. And it's killing us. I mean, it's slowly killing you on that stuff. So yeah, our habits aren't necessarily the best in construction.
And Jennifer, can you share any specific statistics or risk factors that are related to blue collar workers?
Yes. So just to jump on what Mike just said, it compounds the issues. So we know that construction workers, about 25% tend to deal with obesity. About a third are using tobacco. That number could be a little lower. And about 1 out of every 15 has diabetes. So they've got these conditions that are already hard on their body, and they compound that with the long hours, not an ideal diet, There's also some interesting information that I found almost counterintuitive that half of construction workers don't get the recommended daily physical activity level, which seems, wait a minute, these guys are like the fittest, most in shape, most physically active guys. Like you said, Mike, they're working these long days, 10, 12 plus hours on their feet, and our bodies are smart and they adapt to that work level. And so there's not energy left to go strength train, to go interval train, to go push hard and do those extra kind of exercise that we get benefits from. So it's not just one factor. I wish it was. We could fix it easier, but it's this combination of factors that exist that do tend to increase their risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke.
How can employers play a role in reversing those trends?
A few ways. Education is critical. And Mike, you said it. In some cases, construction workers and blue-collar workers don't have the best health because they don't have access. And in some cases, it's just because they don't know. So education is really critical, the critical piece. Also, thinking about how companies incentivize and recognize and reward. Even recognition around the tiniest habits, they shift the culture and they can make a big difference. And then the key point, and Mike, you mentioned this, if it's just something that's done in that open benefits enrollment season, it doesn't hit. If it's something that is brought up in every safety debrief and part of the culture and part of the communication in a company, then it tends to start really making a difference in the choices that workers are making.
What do you think about that, Mike?
Absolutely. It's all about training, it's giving them the information. One of the things that we've tapped Jennifer for specifically about, the eating habits. And I know this, which all of this plays into heart association. Your heart health, it's more than just knowing CPR, which I know we'll talk about here in a little bit, but like we've actually had Jennifer come in and do little lunch and learns for us on, instead of grabbing that breakfast pizza, you can go to that same convenience store, probably get a couple of hard-boiled eggs. They've usually got some kind of nuts, cheeses, stuff like that. Grab that stuff versus that slice of pizza. It's better for your body. It's going to give you more energy. It's going to last longer throughout the day, and just educate on what these energy drinks and all of this stuff, can actually do to you. It's educating the employees that, even with the lifestyle they have to live, it is there. Just, you got to look for it. So it's just understanding one, hey, we always hear you should eat this, you should do this, but we don't really hear what that bad stuff actually does to you. And that's one thing the Heart Association and Jennifer and her team has also provided. It's not just, hey, eat an apple. Okay, great. But why can't I eat that pizza? Well, that pizza's got this, and this is what it does to you in the long-term effects. So yeah, I completely agree with what Jennifer's saying. We have to educate. We have to educate them. And it's got to be more than just once. It's constant, giving new topics, giving different ways to provide the information, because the once a year is just not enough.
One thing, if I can jump on what you said, Mike, that I feel like you all have done a great job of is simplifying, because anything around health, improving health, whether it's diet or exercise, it can get real overwhelming really quick. And so if it becomes bite-sized pieces where someone can celebrate a success and then build on that, that's so much more meaningful than overwhelming people. We can all get overwhelmed pretty easily around exercise and nutrition. So we try to break it down into pieces that things it can be incorporated easily.
Mike, could you share any examples where heart-related incidents have become a learning experience?
I can. The one incident I've got, it wasn't a Kinley incident, but it happened at a job site that we're working at, that unfortunately another contracting company had a employee pass away from a heart issue. And that was pretty sobering wake up call when you see that. we work beside other companies on construction sites because you got different trades and everything like that. And while we don't always work directly with them, we're in very close proximity. And when something happens like that on a job site, man, it hits everybody. I don't know the details of the why other than it was a heart related incident, which it's a wake up call when you see it. So it's scary. It's out there, but it's preventable. It's something that we can start working now. Whether it's as a company or as an individual, we can start working to correct those kind of things. And hopefully, I always say I want people to go home from the job site better than they came in. But sadly, it does happen a lot of times. Provide that information, that knowledge, so that when they're not at the job site, they're taking care of themselves in the same manner. That's what we have to go with. That's why we don't allow, we don't buy energy drinks for our job sites anymore. We don't buy soda anymore. We always provide water, but if we got to work a long shift, which happens a lot of times, we'll bring food in. We try to stay away from the pizzas and all that kind of stuff, try to do something healthier. Can we go to a local restaurant, get some chicken salads and stuff like that? That's what we try to do now as well, but it hits home when you see it happen at one of the job sites.
Jennifer, have you seen success with other construction companies that have taken their employees' heart health and physical health into consideration?
Yeah, I do fortunately get to see it often. And it tends to help if it comes from leadership, that it's valuable to leadership, and that care that they have for their workers, it really transcends through those actions. And something as simple as bringing breakfast tacos to the job site instead of donuts. It seems like a small thing. Maybe the breakfast tacos cost a little bit more, but if it's a priority to the leadership of a company, that's going to start to change the culture. And I'll give you an example. I was recently out at a subcontractor company lunch, and they were so mindful that we're going to do grilled chicken, we're going to do salads, we're going to do like this healthy veggie bar. And when I was there last year, they were doing burgers and hot dogs. But they just said they've worked on making these little changes in their break room, in their company functions. And so it just builds that awareness for people and starts pushing people in that work healthy direction. So to your point, Mike, not having energy drinks on the job site, having water, maybe hydration packs. It's making a person mindful next time they're standing in front of that big cooler at Quick Trip. Man, I'm already depleted. Maybe I can do something that helps hydrate me or helps keep me going. It's really, it's meaningful when we see companies that aren't just talking the talk, but they're walking the walk. And it's really been cool to go out to companies with CPR education and meet their employees in a break room or a lunch situation. And they're like, I just certified. I just took a class. Like, I have a hard time finding somebody there that doesn't already know it. And that's a great feeling. And it says so much about the leadership in that company and that they genuinely care about really equipping their people.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Nation of Lifesavers initiative and what the goal is and how close are we to getting there?
Yes. So you're probably really familiar with DeMar Hamlin and what happened to him on the field. The amazing thing about his situation is that there was a chain of survival in place. Nobody waited. Nobody stood around looking for someone to do CPR. They knew what to do and they took action. And so we know that about 350,000 people each year will have a cardiac arrest outside of the hospital. And unfortunately, that survival rate is less than 10%. And that's because people are not administering CPR right away. So Nation of Lifesavers is really a push to turn a nation of bystanders into a nation of lifesavers that are ready to take action. And we were able to do some CPR education with y'all last week. And the initiative behind the Nation of Lifesavers, it's teaching hands-only CPR because we can teach it quickly, and it's removing the barriers of someone saying, I can't act because I need a certification, or I'm afraid to administer CPR because I don't want to put my mouth on someone's mouth. So now we've eliminated those barriers. And if someone starts giving hands-only CPR within those first critical seconds, that survival rate can double or triple. If there's an AED, that survival rate now can come up to as high as 80%. So when we think about, our parent, our coworker, our spouse having a cardiac arrest out in public on the job site, we want to know that somebody's ready to jump. And it's particularly important on construction job sites and manufacturing facilities and those locations where if there is an emergency, 911, 7 to 9 minute response time to your job site, right? Then we got to get an emergency response out to that person. So it's critical that the people that are around the person that's had a cardiac arrest call 911, start chest compressions, find that AED. And when the paramedics arrive, that survival chance is so much greater. And we're seeing that survival rate increase as the number trained in hands-only CPR increases in a community. We're seeing that across the country, and we've already seen an increase here in Tarrant County.
Wow. Mike, Jennifer mentioned that we had internal CPR training. You mind talking a little bit about how the training went?
They loved it. We had 4 sessions back to back. I think each session was about 30 minutes. It was a hands-only CPR training. I think we could have easily done it in 10 minutes, but I wanted Jennifer and her team to talk all the whys, have plenty of time to discuss and give some stats and everything like that. The thing, if somebody has never been in the situation of a cardiac issue, it'll scare the tar out of you. And some people will freeze. If you've never been in that situation, it can be violent. It can be scary. Everybody's kind of got that fight or flight thing. Think you know how you would react to it, but until it happens, you just don't know. Well, one of the ways to combat that flight is training. And this isn't one of those things. And the beauty and that thing I love about the hands-only CPR, and I've been through, it's prior military, I've been through a lot of, I'll just call it first aid training. You don't just do it once. You have to keep training, because the more you are trained, your brain will switch off almost in those situations, and your training just kind of kicks in and it just takes over, and you just do it. Next thing you know, you're down on top of somebody, give chest compressions, and you didn't even realize it. But you're only going to get that through the training. And what I love about the hands-only CPR training, it's not like you have to take a full day to go do the training. You can, they've got resources online. You go watch a video. If you've gone through it once, you've done it on the dummies, all that stuff, you still go watch a video every couple months. Say, oh, okay, yep, that's what I'm supposed to do. It's quick, it's easy, but it's staying in front of you, and you need to do that. It's not a one-time only, because you need those skills that you've learned to just kick in. Because, you heard Jennifer saying, we're talking minutes and seconds that can make a difference, so it's, and everybody loved the training. They absolutely, Jennifer and her team killed a lot of myths for people out there. That's, what do you mean I don't have to put my mouth on this person? No, you don't. It's just chest compressions. They talked about, if I'm not a card carrying first aid, AED, CPR, blah, 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 and I go do the CPR on somebody, I'm going to get sued or something like that. Nope, not going to happen. We've got Good Samaritan laws in every state in this nation. So dispelling a lot of those myths too, to take that stigma off of there, so somebody is willing and able to do the training. And you tend to see people, since we've been doing it, and we've been doing CPR first aid training for a long time, but it's mainly been like our superintendents, our foremen, and stuff like that. Now we're working to get everybody in Kinley trained, because you never know it's just as, you could have it happen here in the office just as much as you could have it happen on the job site. One of the coolest things, since we've been doing all this training now, kind of the attitudes we're seeing change, is me and my team are not having to go out and remind Zach, hey, your CPR training's coming due. You're going to, we got to get you scheduled. They're coming to us. They know when it's due. They're like, hey, it's time for me to get this kind of training. That's awesome. That means that's showing that the cultures, they're taking ownership of the health and safety program. So that's been that's what really puts a smile on my face, is seeing people like, hey, they know this is important. They're taking ownership of it and holding us accountable to go get them trained or whatever resources they need for this. So that's been pretty awesome.
Mhm. And so for people that don't know, or that are maybe not aware of the Good Samaritan laws, like whether it's Jennifer or Mike, you guys just giving a high level overview of what those laws are, and I guess maybe what protection that provides to folks that are in that, situation.
Well, my understanding is, without any legal expertise, is that if you are acting in a good faith effort to save a life, that you're then protected in that action.
Got it.
So, yeah. With cardiac arrest, we know their heart is stopped. So any effort that you make to save them is a life-saving.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to something that's a little bit more lively, so to speak. But in September, we do have the upcoming Heart Walk here in Fort Worth. So I don't know, let's talk a little bit about it, because it is more than just a fundraiser. And so, Mike, as you know, Kinley, we're chairing this year's walk, this event. Why is it important for us to take such a leadership role in September?
Yeah, we're excited about this. So first off, heart health is something that Jimmy, our CEO, and Kat, our chief of staff, Jimmy and Kat Kinley, they truly believe in. Heart health is something that has directly touched their personal lives and their family. So it's something that's of great importance to them even before this. So here's Heart Walk. We kind of jumped in at the last minute, to be honest with you. We were like, I think I met Jennifer and she's like, hey, we've got this going on. What do you think? So we scrambled, we got a team together, raised a little bit of money, all of that kind of stuff, and went out to do the Heart Walk. And then when we showed up, I don't know, I think we had 25 or 30 employees show up somewhere around there. Man, it was like, holy moly. You see all of these different companies. And the biggest impact is when you see the survivors at this Heart Walk. I mean, I'm just literally goosebumped right now when you meet somebody, that like, hey, this directly affected me. CPR saved my life. If that doesn't fire you up to want to get involved with something like this, I don't know. Jimmy and Kat and their family and all of our, a lot of our workers were at this Heart Walk. And when they saw that, man, they were like, boom, we're in. And then luckily Jennifer approached them about the potential of being the chairs for the 2025 Heart Walk. And I don't think it took much. I was a part of the decision-making process on it, but I don't think it took a whole lot for them to say, yes, let's go. It just makes total sense for Kinley to be associated with this.
Yeah, I was one of the Kinley employees that showed up on a Saturday morning, and I remember parking and looking down and just seeing easily 2,000 to 5,000 people there. Jennifer, what's the impact of the Heart Walk beyond just dollars raised?
There's two pieces that I love so much about the Heart Walk. And one, Mike mentioned it. It's survivors. You're not just recognizing them and celebrating there, but in the months leading up to the Heart Walk, it's working with companies and having them find out, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this person I work with, that their child was impacted by the heart condition. Or they figure out they know someone that was saved by CPR or gave CPR. And it brings about that awareness of like, oh man, maybe this is something I should be thinking about, or I should be taking care of my preventative health. I should know how to give CPR. So watching people share their story and kind of call their circle of influence to action around healthier hearts is a really cool piece. And we're expecting 6,000 people there this year. And they're going to have so many opportunities at that event to learn hands-only CPR. And we have no idea the ripple effect of that many people in one place learning what to do in cardiac emergency. So impacts, like you said, there's that financial component that helps us research, provide the next innovation, and support people break down barriers to CPR. So that whole piece is there.
And Mike, how are we encouraging participation across teams, job sites, and multiple divisions at Kinley?
Yeah, obviously any of our employees that are in the Tarrant County area, I'm not going to say they're being encouraged to participate, but yes, it's being encouraged to participate. It hasn't been hard. I mean, let's say that in jest. We want them to participate, especially ones that didn't go last year, man, to come feel all the good feels that you get at this Heart Walk. Raise money if you can, go get sponsors, families, all this kind of stuff. But we're also encouraging, because Kinley is, a nationwide company. We're not all just here. We're encouraging our other job sites to, do their own Heart Walk. They can do it virtually or maybe the same day, same time, and try to raise awareness and the money and stuff like that. So wherever they are, we're encouraging them to do something like that or jump in. Tarrant County isn't the only one that does this. We'll help them find the one in their area, whether it's that same day or a different month, whatever. But that's what we're really trying to do is it's infectious in a good way, the group of people that are around us, and everybody wants to help everybody else. And that's what is amazing. And it just really, not only are we helping Heart Association, man, they're helping change our culture in the same way. I mean, they're providing one of the things being coupled with them now. And the fact that Jimmy and Kat being the co-chairs for this, they got to decide what the emphasis was this year. And it is on construction workers. And so Heart Association is giving us information and data and stuff to do specifically around the construction industry. There's very little of that is happening out there. I mean, there's some studies here and there, whatever, for a major organization like AHA to be solely focused on construction industry and giving us that in there. And this is all the companies that are coming in to be co-sponsors and all this stuff. They're open to all that information as well. So it's just been, I know we throw the term synergy out a lot, but it truly is. It's a symbiotic. They're helping us, we're helping them, and it just goes full circle. And all we're doing is making people's lives better.
Jennifer, how can someone get involved, whether they walk, donate, or sponsor?
Sure, they can visit tarrantcountyheartwalk.org. Of course, I'll share my information with you if you can add that into the notes. But the beauty, I think, of the American Heart Association is there's a place for everybody to plug in. So like you said, whether they walk or get their company involved or want to be a sponsor or just for more information on resources and CPR education, there's a place for everybody.
Perfect. Before we wrap things up, I'd love to hear some final thoughts. Mike, what's your message to other construction leaders out there about making heart health a part of their safety culture?
Yeah, that's a big one. Hey, if you're listening to this and you're a leader of a company, it's our responsibility to take care of our employees. And that's more than just making sure they got a paycheck at the end of the week. Yeah, that's great. That is hugely important. But above and beyond that, what are we doing to make our employees' lives better, especially in the construction business? I mean, just look where you're sitting right now, wherever you're listening to this, where are you sitting right now? Guarantee a construction worker had something to do with that. They're behind the scenes. They're working long hours. They're doing the best they can to provide for their families. What are we as company leaders doing to take care of them? If it's as simple as getting rid of the energy drinks in the break room and providing water or, a healthier sports drink and all that kind of stuff, or educating them on here's a better way to eat, but showing it too, like Jennifer said, at the break room. Next time you have a company meeting, don't cater it with donuts, get something healthier. It's not that hard, but it's gonna show your employees that you care about them. It's going to educate them so that maybe they're educating their families now, but it's breaking that bad cycle of poor habits. But it is our responsibility as leaders in these companies because nobody else is going to do it for them. So please take a look at that. Got questions, man, reach out to the Heart Association, reach out to Kinley. We'll help. This isn't private data that we can't share. And I'm not saying we're perfect. We got a long way to go, but man, we will help out other companies. If you want to know what our journey's been like, where we're trying to go, all that kind of stuff, what hasn't worked for us, I'll share that in a heartbeat. But, just take responsibility for your employees and try to give them as good of lives as you can. So,
And Jennifer, how can someone listening today take their first step towards getting educated, trained, or involved with the American Heart Association?
I love for people to know that 80% of the heart disease and stroke is preventable with really simple lifestyle changes. And so I'd encourage people to visit the Heart Association or the Heart Walk website and just get familiar with resources and pick one thing. Start with one thing and then build from there. What's that heart healthy habit that we can put into practice today? And then continue to build on it. But I'm always encouraged by, like I said, the survivors I see at Heart Walk. And I met one gentleman last year, 94, across the finish line, and he had a major heart attack at 55. And he did just small tweaked insight and started walking 3 miles a day. And there he was at 94 to tell me about it.
he was on.
So just know that the smallest changes make a really big difference. And I encourage people to step into that, learn more, reach out to me and check out the Heart Association website. And please take advantage of all the resources we provide.
For everyone tuning in, thank you. If you're in the construction industry or know someone who is, this conversation is for you. We'll include links in the show notes to register for the Tarrant County Heart Walk, access to CPR training, and learn more about what the American Heart Association is doing. Thanks again to Jennifer and Mike, and thank you for listening. We'll catch you guys next time.